Good afternoon, learners. My name is Ms P Tlakula. I'm from the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences under the Department of Life and Consumer Sciences at the Science Florida campus, at the UNISA Science Florida campus. Today, I'm going to teach you under the topic 7 in the CAPS manual. In the subject, and the name of the subject is Support System in Animals. And today we are going to focus mainly on the human skeleton. The learning outcomes for this lesson today is to identify types of animal skeleton. That is the hydrostatic, the exoskeleton, the endoskeleton, and also to describe major parts of the human skeleton, which is the axial and versus the appendicular. Also to list the key functions of the skeletal system, explain different types of bones and joints, understand how the skeleton support movement and protect organs. Remember, we are going to focus mainly on the human skeleton. Can you imagine with me how a human being or an animal will look like without bones? Just for a second there. Look at the picture on the side. This is how we would look like. We wouldn't be attractive, right? Yes. So what do you think are the functions of the human skeleton? Please type your answers in the chat box. Great. So with that in mind, the functions of the human skeletons, which are the bones, the first one is to support. This provides a rigid structure to maintain the body shape. The second function is for protection. It shields vital organs. An example would be the skull, which protects the brain, the rib cage, which protects the heart and the lungs. The third function of the human skeleton is for movement, which works together with muscles to enable motion. The fourth function of the human skeleton is for storage. It stores minerals such as calcium and phosphorus. The fifth function of the human skeleton is to produce blood cell production to the bone marrow, and it produces the red blood cells and the white blood cells. So let's do the recap. We have 5 functions of the human skeleton. The first is for support. The second is for protection. The third is for movement. The fourth is for storage. The fifth is to produce blood cells, the red and the white. Did you get that? Okay, let's move on. What is the skeletal system? The human skeleton is the internal framework that supports the body. It comprises of 206 bones connected by joints. These bones are supported by ligaments and they are moved by muscles. Did you get that? The human skeleton is the internal framework that supports the body. It comprises of 206 bones connected by joints. And the skeleton is supported by ligaments. And then it is moved by muscles. So we have 3 types of skeletons. The first one is what we call the hydrostatic skeleton. It has a fluid-filled cavity. An example would be that of a worm. Whenever you hear the word hydro, think water. The second type of skeleton is what we call the exoskeleton. It is rigid, external, and has an external shell. An example will be that of insects. Whenever you hear the word exo, think of outside of. The third type of skeleton is an endoskeleton. It supports the internal structures, such as the skeleton of a dog or a human being. Remember, whenever you hear the word endo, it means inside. Let's do the recap. We have how many types of skeletons? 3. We have the hydrostatic skeleton, which is a fluid-filled cavity. An example would be that of a worm. We have the exoskeleton, which is rigid, and it is outside. An example will be that of an insect. The third one will be the endoskeleton, which supports internal structures, just like that one that is found in dogs and human beings. And whenever you hear the word endo, you think what? Inside. Correct. So let's compare the 3 types of skeletons. In terms of features, we are talking about the hydrostatic skeleton, the exoskeleton, and the endoskeleton. So the structures. The structure of the hydrostatic skeleton is fluid-filled cavity, and the exoskeleton has a rigid outer covering. The endoskeleton has a rigid internal framework. Did you hear that? In terms of structures, the hydrostatic skeleton has a fluid-filled cavity. The exoskeleton has a rigid outer covering. The endoskeleton has a rigid internal framework. An example of each will be the hydrostatic skeleton. An example will be an earthworm, a jellyfish. An exoskeleton will be that of an insect, a crab or a spider. An endoskeleton will be that of humans, birds, fish, and reptiles. The supportive mechanism of the 3 types of skeletons. The hydrostatic skeleton is pressure of fluid within the cavity. The exoskeleton has a hard outer shell that protects and supports it. And the exoskeleton has internal bones that supports the body. In terms of mobility, the hydrostatic skeleton is flexible, allows for smooth movement. The exoskeleton is limited by joints and limbs, and the endoskeleton is high and flexible with joints and limbs. Did you hear that? In terms of growth, the hydrostatic skeleton is continuous. There's no need to shed structure, while the exoskeleton must molt, meaning there's a need to shed the structure in order for it to grow. Whereas the endoskeleton grows with the body. As the body grows, it grows. In terms of protection, with the hydrostatic skeleton, there's minimal external protection. With the exoskeleton, there's excellent protection from the environment, while with the endoskeleton, there is moderate internal protection. In terms of vulnerability, the hydrostatic skeleton is prone to external pressure and injury, while the exoskeleton is vulnerable during molting, and the endoskeleton is protected by muscles and skin. Did you hear that? Can you differentiate? Can you compare? I hope so. So the significant parts of the human skeleton. The human skeleton has 2 main divisions. The first one is what we call the axial skeleton, which has 80 bones. Within the ancient skeleton, we have the skull. The function of the skull is to protect the brain. We also have the vertebral columns, which are the spine. The spine supports the head and the body, and it also protects the spinal cord. We also have the rib cage. The rib cage protects the heart and the lungs. The second division of the human skeleton is what we call the appendicular skeleton. It has 126 bones. It has what we call the pectoral girdle, which are the shoulders, the pelvic girdle, which are the hips, the upper limbs, which are the arms and the hands, the lower limbs, which are the legs and the feet. In total, the human skeleton has 206 bones. We have different types of bones. There are 4 main types of bones. The first one are called long bones. These are the femur and the humerus. Their function are to support weight and facilitate movement. The second ones are what we call short bones. These are the carpals in the wrist. They provide stability and some movement. We have what we call flat bones. These are the skull and the ribs. They protect internal organs. The fourth types of bones, we have what we call irregular bones. These are the ones that are found in the vertebrae. They are complex shaped for protection and support. Let's do a recap. We have how many types of bones? 4. The long bones, the short bones, the flat bones, and the irregular bones. Joints and movements. Types of joints. We have 3 types of joints. We have what we call immovable joints. These are the skull structures. You can't move them. We have what we call slightly movable. These are the vertebrae. You can move them slightly. And we have what we call the synovial joints, which can freely be movable. These are the hinge, which are the knee and the elbow. That's why we are able to rotate them when we exercise. And then we have what we call the ball and the sockets, which are on the shoulders and the hip as well. We have the pivot, the neck. That's why we are able to turn our neck. And the gliding, which are the wrist and the ankles. So these are movable bones. So how many types of joints do we have? We have 3 types of joints. These joints join bones together. The first, we have the immovable ones, the slightly movable, and the synovial joints. Together, great. So, an overview of the human skeleton. Let's do a recap of the entire human skeleton. Now that you know the bones, we have the first one there on the head. We call it the skull. And then we have the skull, we have the rib, we have the pelvis, and then on the rib we have the bones that makes up the hand. The upper bone is called the humerus. The lower bone we have what we call the ulna and the radius. We also have what we call on the pelvis, the femur, which is the upper part of the limb, which is your leg, and the 2 types of bones, the fibula and the tibia, which form the part of the lower leg. But within that, we also have the wrist and the bones that forms the foot. Okay, so how do we maintain healthy bones? We maintain healthy bones by eating healthy. There are important minerals and vitamins that we can take that can help us maintain healthy bones. The importance of calcium and vitamin D and other nutrients is what we are going to talk about today. So calcium. Calcium is essential for building and maintaining strong bones and teeth. It helps muscles, functions, and nerve carry messages. Daily intake is especially critical during childhood, adolescence, and aging. We also have vitamin D. It enhances calcium absorption in the gut. So it is vital for bone growth, remodeling. It is obtained through sunlight exposure and food such as the fatty fish and milk and other supplements. We also need to take a balanced diet. So to provide other bone supporting nutrients like magnesium, phosphorus, and protein. This will aid in maintaining a healthy body weight and also reducing pressure on the bones. So we are encouraged by health practitioners to also exercise in order to prevent chronic infections. So I know some of you, mostly teenagers, don't like taking vitamins and supplements. But in order for you to have good, healthy bone structures and strong bones and a healthy body, you need to take supplements. You can take supplements in the ones that you buy in the counter or just eat a healthy diet. But how will you know if your diet is healthy or not? Usually organic food. That is why you must learn planting some of the food like your spinach. And also those that live in the villages are very fortunate. They can even have chickens in their yards because their yards are big. So it's important to have nutrient supplemented food that will make sure that your bones are healthy. With that in mind, let us do a class activity again. Please write your answers in the chat box. Let us name each part of the human body, even the ones that I did not recall there. If you know them, let us do a recap by naming each and every part of the human skeleton. Let us start with number 1. What is number 1? Please type. Number 2, what do we call those bones? Labeled number 2. What do we call bones labeled number 3? 4, 5, 6. What do we call the label number 7? What about number 8? I'll give you 10 minutes to finish off your labeling. Please write your answers in the chat box. Welcome back. Did I say 10 minutes? I meant 10 seconds. Sorry about that. Let's check in the chat box the activities. Yes, most of you are correct. So let us label again. The first will be the skull. Number 2, there will be the cheekbones, the teeth, the clavicle. I don't remember how they were labeled, but this is how the labeling should look like. You can go and search for more in your textbook. We have the ribs, the spine, the humerus, the radius, the ulna, the femur, the tibia, the fibula. Do you see that? Beautiful. So let's do a quiz. A quick quiz. Name the 3 types of skeletons that we've mentioned earlier. Okay, type in the box, in the chat box, your answers. Thank you. Number 2, list 2 differences between axial and the appendicular skeleton. Do you remember? Just 2, not more than 2, just 2. Okay. All right. I see the chat box is flooding with answers. Number 3, what bone protects the brain? Do you know? Is it the rib? Is it the femur? What is it? What is it called? Okay. Number 4, what is a ball and socket joint? Do you know? Where do we find it? Okay, great, good. How do bones and joints work together for movement? Explain in the chat box. How do bones and joints work together for movement? Good, great. Your answers are correct. Most of them are correct. Let's do a recap and a summary of our lesson. Skeleton provides shape, support, movement, protection, storage, and blood cell production. Do you agree? Yes. It is divided into axial and appendicular regions. Do you agree? Yes. Bones and joints are essential for skeletal health and mobility. Proper nutrition and lifestyle maintain bone integrity. Do you agree? Yes. So I've included this just to encourage you if you want to continue with life sciences and after university, just so that you can you may know about the careers that are offered at university if you ever decide to study bones or life science or human life science that has to do with human beings or animals. We have a list of careers. The first one is called orthopedic surgery. This specializes in diagnosing and treating bones and joint conditions. We also have a career in physical therapist, which helps patients recover movement and manage pain related to bones and muscle injuries. We also have what we call chiropractor, which focuses on spinal alignment and musculoskeletal health. We also have forensic anthropologist, which analyzes skeletal remains to identify individual and the cause of death. We also have radiological technologist, which uses images technology to view bones and diagnose conditions. We have osteologist, is a scientist who specializes in bone research and analysis. We have archaeologist. This may work with skeletal remains during excavations. We have biomedical engineering, which design medical devices related to bone repair. For an example, the prosthetic and implantation, maybe after someone was involved in accident and they have a fracture of a bone, something like that. A paleontologist that studies ancient bones and fossil to understand evolutionary history. And we also have sport medicinal specialists. They work with athletes to prevent and treat bone injuries. Thank you.